Hello, welcome back. Today is Thursday and very close to Good Friday. Of course, tomorrow we're gonna expect low volatility practically. We didn't drop. We stayed the same as where we are right now. Bitcoin still 84,900. Sometimes it has broken 85,000. Our highest of today was 85,456. Is my stream working? Yes. Let me take off my glasses. I don't need them. My eyes are in pain. But we're good. We're technically in an uptrend. How long can we maintain it, though? I don't see much of it. We could get a nice breakout. A good almost 4% pump till we reach 88,400. Could be an area where we could see a slowdown of the price if a breakout is imminent. However, I'm still thinking sentiment toward the downside. For now, as long as we are under this downtrend. It's the most important one. Alright, tell your story, Bradley. Welcome to the stream, by the way. It is my stream. But go for it. I'll read it later, so go wild. Anyways, so this is the plan. Bounce off of the downtrend, right? Continue heading downwards. We're looking at maybe a 2% drop. I feel like a 2% price decay can absolutely happen over this long weekend, right? We're expecting a drop to 82,800 approximately. Why? Because I wouldn't even say 82,800. I would say between 83,000 and 86,000 is where we have been oscillating. I drew this on another chart, but not on this one, so I'm going to draw it on this one. About 83,000 is about like there, and the next level is 86,000, which is about there, right? We've kind of been in this lateralized area, lateralized zone for now. So, you know, if a breakout is going to happen, it's going to have to happen here. Otherwise, if we do continue with our drop, God knows where we're going to drop. But once a breakout does happen, look at this. April 27 it's looking like. This is going to be the first. Currently support will be resistance that we'll be breaking out of. Also coincides, of course, with M2 money supply pattern, which we're expecting a nice breakout, a blast off by May 1st. So we spent the whole week studying for this geo test and at the same time doing this geo video project that took hours to make. Both due today, and after hours of working on this, you had no time to do anything else and had to skip your basketball practices. That sucks. So today you had the test. Okay, keep going. I'll read your story as you... Let me know when you're done with it. So I'll read the rest of it, the whole thing. Cool. So, yeah. Important support, we have 83,000. Next one, 81,400, 81,500 approximately, I'd say safe. And then psychological level at 80,000. So we got some really good supports, right? In terms of technical analysis, we should be fine. We need some significant fundamentals, either to the downside or to the upside to see a breakout from this downtrend heading upwards, or breaking below 80,000 once again, which would be a significantly good buying opportunity, which I am hoping for. I want to load up a little bit more before the blast off. I had this experience before. I think it was last year, where I was hoping for a drop before Trump would win or something like that, and I don't remember. We did get it, but it wasn't as much as I was expecting. And let me just go to a daily chart here. Go where Trump victory happened here. November 4. Yeah, I was hoping for one more drop somewhere here. Like a bit to... Oh, this is 76,000? Really? Oh no, I'm looking at a daily chart. Okay, I gotta be more zoomed in over here. Yeah, we're looking at about 65,000. I think it was around this area. I was hoping for another drop. Hopefully to bounce off of whatever uptrend we had drawn since over here. Before we would blast off, right? Of course, if Kamala Harris won, that would have been hit with no problem. But it didn't. Trump won, and we shot up from there. Anyways, could play a similar scenario here, right? We've got two price levels, right, that are bouncing off of the uptrend. And here's me again expecting, okay, I really want price to come down and bounce off of the uptrend once again before we actually take off. Now, it still can happen, so that's what I'm going to currently expect. But at the same time, you got to be prepared for the opposite side. Is it really worth it? Could be, depending on how long you want to hold onto a position for. If you do plan on just holding onto it and you're planning to sell at 100,000 anyway, go for it, right? Buy now and couple months you'll be there. Now, me, I'll be a bit more patient with it this time because I've kind of messed up like this in the past where I've made purchases. Things have dropped and, I ran out of money to buy the dips. So that's not good, right? You should always have cash on the side for a potential dip. In this case, we don't really have a dip. We've just been, like I said, staying very within this zone, within this range, lateral position, not much happening, right? Still technically in an uptrend, which is fine, short term. But longer term, like this downtrend is spooky. It's the one that's been pushing us down ever since all-time high levels. So that's something we got to pay attention to. Okay. Bradley, you're done your thing. Okay, so you had to study for geography. The whole class cheated, so only about 4 of us studied, and the whole class is going to have relatively equal marks, but I feel like they don't deserve the same mark. Wow. And with the Geo project that we spent hours in the cold for, she didn't even play the videos. Wow. So now people have 4 more days to do it. Jeez, that sucks. Your high school needs a checkup there. So what? Is that just common now? The whole class cheats? Back in my day, we actually had to study for stuff. We couldn't, we would have to, either we were not allowed to have our phones, we'd have to put them at the beginning, like at the entrance of the class, right? At the beginning of the test. Or it was just so light you didn't even have to study for whatever stuff. But some classes, yeah, I'll admit, there was some cheating going on. Good thing I'll never have to do that stuff ever again. Alright, moving on. Most coins, not a lot of movement. Ethereum, 0% movement. Nice. What is going on? We have bounced off of the support over here. 1,576 is where we have it. Current price is 1,586. Why are we in a downtrend? Why did we get a death cross? Ethereum is underperforming. I'll just readjust this downtrend to these new levels that we have over here. Oh, your teacher wasn't really watching. Yeah, I guess it's easier to cheat that way. I understand what that means, yeah. I won't admit to cheating live, but, anyway. Okay. Yeah, Ethereum's already confirmed the downtrend that I'm kind of expecting to see. It's kind of like gone ahead of everything else. I'm pretty sure not all altcoins will be like this, though. Some might be in have their golden cross in terms of the exponential moving averages. So I'll have to wait and see, but to confirm. Drop for Ethereum. Oh, this is gonna be hard. Really, the lowest point? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Ethereum is notorious for just free falling all the time for the most minimum thing. You put tariffs on aluminum, Ethereum will drop 30%. Anyway, 1,393 is the most crucial support line that I have right over here. So, yeah. In terms of, like, I don't know, if we draw a Fibonacci from here to here. Did I mess up? I did. So we're at that first line right now, 1,573. That's the second line, sorry. Look at that other support from this minimum at 1,537. That's a perfect coincidence. Next zone we would have 1,501. If you want to like use technical analysis to figure out where we could see a slowdown of a drop, because it's looking like a drop is going to happen, right? I don't think we're going to break out of this downtrend that easily. We're going into a weekend, low volatility. The price is just going to decay over that period of time. Who knows? Maybe we do get a pump. But I'm just saying, like, this downtrend has been going on for a while. How long has this downtrend been going for? I haven't analyzed this one in a moment. It's not that long. From okay, that is pretty long. February. We'll say February. And we're still overshadowed by this other one. Is this misplaced? No, it's placed fine. It just looks weird because of the 1 day chart. We're fine. So yeah, that's what we have for Ethereum. Not too bad. Solana's up 3% today. Still pumping. Possibly due to Canadian ETFs finally doing their magic. Put to good use. I don't think Grayscale has a part in it, so maybe that explains it. Solana ETFs are live, by the way, in Canada, if you're not aware. Not in the United States yet. United States is what really matters, but yeah. Oh, you also cheated, Bradley? That's not cool, bro. No, it's okay, I understand. It's necessary sometimes. Yay, no signs of stopping for Solana. Look, it's already broken out of its downtrend, right? Super trend flip bullish. This is looking like it's going to reach its pivot point at 119. And currently Solana is testing that 136 resistance that I manually drew from a long time ago that I figured out would be a very important level to have a look at going forward, which so far it's still in play. That's pretty good. Breakout of that could lead us to 143. I think I do have some targets up there, so that'll be pretty neat to see if Solana is able to reach that. Next impulse, if it continues going forward during this week, 158. I think that's a bit of a stretch. Who knows? Maybe we won't have enough strength to push up and break out of that resistance. I'm expecting a DK over the weekend for everything. I'm running out of vocal cords. Solana, I just said. XRP, $2.06. Looks like we're seeking this. It just looks like it, right? You understand what I mean. We're heading downwards. Where can we see a slowdown? At the $2 point. Why? Psychological support and also pivot point. Downtrend is still there. So where do you see an uptrend here? I don't. Like whatever this was, it's already broken, right? If I was to draw one from here, like that's already broken. So invalid. It's also too steep. So you got to get something that's more shallow. Whether that be over here at whatever support level we find at $2 mark. That's something that I would expect. And then we could see a breakout by end of month. Maybe this lasts a little longer. How much longer? I don't even know. If you put the triangle like perfectly symmetrical, this is pointing at end of month. Yeah, 27th of April. I'm starting to see a lot of 27th of April patterns here. Interesting. Might be useful for the future. Still, yeah, not a lot of movement though for XRP. Practically everything has just been kind of chill, kind of quiet. Sui has got a bullish super trend. That's pretty good. Currently at the pivot point, $2.12 current price. Still overshadowed though by a downtrend, it seems. From, I'm assuming this is almost either February, 18th of January, okay. And then all-time high level is even further. So still got a while to go for Sui. I've mentioned this comparison before versus XRP and Sui. This cycle, I think Sui will be much better. Just for the cycle, though. If you're looking for long-term XRP. I've explained why in a previous stream. Litecoin is at 75, literally doing nothing. Look at this. I've never seen anything more flat than this. Look at that. It's not... There's nothing there. No movement at all. 73... is the support, which it has maintained, considered the pivot point. Current price is 75. Yeah, it's not looking too good. Although it is, the super trend is matching up with whatever downtrend we have over here. So once we do get a breakout, which I'm assuming would be around over here, 21st April. Who knows, maybe we'll break out a little sooner. Or maybe we'll just decay. I think we'll decay over time. There could be a breakout there for Litecoin. Same thing with Cardano. Not a lot going on here. 61 cents. Maintaining support 60 psychological level. Very good. And still overshadowed by a downtrend that we have since 26th of March, because I couldn't draw another one thanks to this crazy 71% pump when we got that strategic crypto reserve announcement. But we haven't heard of anything since then. Hence why we have dropped back down to where we were before that announcement. Maybe even worse. Yeah. Alright, cool. There's all your favorite coins for now. Still haven't broken 85,000. We might get there soon. We've done it before, so that's not off the table. But how high can we go? I don't think 85,500. Shouldn't go higher than that. I'm expecting a drop from there. Nice. Let's go talk about some of the news that has been going on in the markets. Why are we where we are? Because of China tariffs versus United States tariffs. Maybe they'll make a deal soon. Trump has been pushing China to like, hey, we're ready for deals, even though we just put 200% tariff on you guys, no problem. I don't know what's going to come of it. We also had a little bit of FUD about China selling 15,000 bitcoins that they had, likely over the counter, right? So it didn't have a direct impact on the market price, or maybe it did. Who knows? We don't really know. And instead, they're buying record amounts of gold. Also explains the all-time high levels of gold, which are practically hitting like every day now. Well, today it's been a bit of a slowdown. But you'll see like, when was it? 16th of April? Literally yesterday, we were hitting all-time highs. $3,357.92 for an ounce of gold. Yeah. It's thanks to China. They're buying lots of gold. We'll see. Now, if the United States... I've proposed this in the past. It's been talked about. It's not confirmed. It probably won't really happen. But if it does happen, it'll be good. Listen to this. If United States sells their gold reserves and buys Bitcoin, gold right now is all-time high. Bitcoin right now is year-to-date low, right? That's a pretty good exchange in my opinion. The possibility of Bitcoin rising is about 40%, right? It's confirmed by like just me measuring the current price versus all-time high level that we achieved earlier in January. I lied, it's a 30%. I said 40 because we're like 20% drop. But to get back up, it's 30%. I just did my math wrong. So 30% practically guaranteed, right? By later this year. Do you expect gold to continue rising another 30% as well? Oh my gosh, not even. Look, only 5% from where we are right now. We're still at 3,500 for gold. If you're expecting gold to rise at 31%, let's go to 30%. You're expecting gold to hit 4,324. By the way, I'm only talking about this year only. Maybe that could happen for gold, although I doubt it. It's rising at a good pace, but a correction has to come soon. Bitcoin does trail the movement of gold. We all know this. And I think Bitcoin can just achieve literally its previous all-time high a lot faster than what gold will be able to move from 3,300 to 4,300. We're expecting a $1,000 price increase. And I'm just explaining in terms of this year. Bitcoin will hit 110,000 again this year. It's confirmed thanks to M2 Money Supply. The money's going to trickle in. It's going to happen. But for gold, I don't know. It's going to take a lot. It's going to take a lot to move this big guy, but it's going to... Bitcoin's got a better chance of that. So that's my proposal to the United States. Feel free to take this financial advice. USA, sell your gold at all-time high levels. Use it to buy Bitcoin. Won't cost taxpayers any money. You will... how do I explain it? You're guaranteed a 30% return by end of this year if we do achieve our all-time high. And potentially a lot further, which M2 Money projects, we're absolutely hitting 130,000. Maybe 160,000. AI has predicted between 180 to 220,000. That's where we're expecting Bitcoin to reach. And if we do, let's just say best case scenario, according to AI. I'm going to try to find this exact point. Is that right? Yeah, 85,000, sure. All the way to 200,000, 220,000. That's a 158% increase in a year. It could happen. It absolutely can. It's what everybody's projections are, at least for this bull cycle. I know it's a bit slow start, and that's probably a good thing, right? People that are not in it yet can still get in it. There's still a chance, is what I'm expecting from this. So, yeah. Take it or leave it. That's what I am thinking in my little brain that I have. So cool. Yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about. For that, Giorgia Meloni, Prime Minister of Italy, almost said president. Well, she met with President Trump today to, I don't know, defiant move from her, separating herself from the European Union to directly negotiate the tariffs with Trump. She's smart. Anyways, during this little meeting, uh, we all know what's going on with Jerome Powell. Jerome Powell kind of crashed the market yesterday. Not really, because Bitcoin kind of recovered from there. Look, Bitcoin's 85 almost. Powell made a drop look like this. I should go on the 1 hour chart. It looks better. This happened. Once Jerome Powell had a speech saying, oh, we're scared, we don't know what's going to happen with inflation, with the tariffs and all that stuff. A recession is still on the table, and we might have to emergency rate cut. No, well, I don't know. Something like that is what he said. Caused some panic in the markets, but we quickly recovered from that, bottom line. So that was fine. But Trump is kind of angry at Jerome Powell for this. I think I mentioned it. I don't think I mentioned it. Okay. Because this happened today. European Central Bank, ECB, today just cut their interest rates. Let me go to trading economics. Here it is. European Central Bank interest rate decision. They used to have their interest rates at 2.65%, which that's pretty low. And they reduced it to 2.4%, which was in line with what was expected. They were expecting a rate cut, and they went ahead and did it. So if Europe is doing fine, even though their economy is probably worse, I don't know. Their economy is in a bit of a mixed zone right now, but nonetheless, U.S. has been getting some really good economic data, right? We're expecting 4 rate cuts this year. A lot of good projections. Seems like tariffs are not going to be as bad as people originally thought. And yet, Jerome Powell is still hesitant to cut rates. And this is making Trump angry. So, he posted this on Truth Social. The European Central Bank is expected to cut interest rates for the 7th time. And yet, too late Jerome Powell is what he's calling him, of the Fed, who is always too late and wrong, yesterday issued a report which was another and typical complete mess. First of all, oil prices are down, groceries, even eggs are down, and the USA is getting rich on tariffs. I shared yesterday that they made, what was it, $21 billion on tariffs? Maybe they use that to buy Bitcoin. Anyway, too late, talking about Jerome Powell, should have lowered interest rates like the European Central Bank long ago. But he certainly should lower them now. Powell's termination cannot come fast enough. He really wants this guy out. He is planning to fire Jerome Powell, the guy that he himself put in years ago. So that's pretty funny. Can he do this? I don't think so. I don't think he can fire Jerome Powell. They've talked about it briefly, right? They kind of hinted at this whole fact, like, oh, Trump is going to replace Jerome Powell once he took power in office, right? Once he got inaugurated. People were saying, oh, Trump, do you think Jerome Powell is ever going to listen to you? He's like, yeah. And then when Jerome Powell was asked, do you think Trump can fire you? He's like, no, he can't fire me. So it's like, okay, this weird conflict. What's actually going to happen? Bit of drama going on in the White House. He mentioned this to the news reporters while on that interview with, not interview, but just a briefing, right, with Giorgia Meloni. Trump said he's not happy with Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell. He says that if I want him out, he'll be out of there real fast, believe me. Also mentioning that he'll leave if I ask him to. He'll be out of there. I don't think he's doing the job. Same thing as he mentioned in a post a couple weeks ago about Jerome Powell playing politics. Maybe he's doing this to, purposefully upset Trump or trying to screw over Trump, even though Trump is already doing a good job with the economy. Prices are coming back down. Inflation is not on the rise. At least not as much as we expected it to, especially considering the fact that tariffs are active. So, seems like it's fine for now, and rates should be cut. There was this whole talk about emergency rate cuts when the markets panicked on, would you even call it, what did they call it? Cyber Monday? Or Black Monday? Black Monday? It was Black Monday. Similar thing that Jim Cramer was calling out for, like, oh, we're going to get a drop similar to 1983, when everything dropped 20%, all the stock markets, the indices crashed. But that didn't really happen. It kind of crashed, but it actually ended up recovering back to its near its entry point, as if nothing happened, right? Great buying opportunity, by the way. And during that time, the Fed even had an emergency meeting, like, okay, we got to talk about this. And everybody was thinking, oh, is that a potential emergency rate cut? And the odds of a rate cut suddenly started rising. The odds of an emergency announcement, an emergency meeting from the Fed was going to happen, because, you know, if that was the case, Jerome Powell messed up, and he's like, he would have to admit defeat in that at that point, saying, yeah, you know what, I did mess up, and we're going to cut rates effective now. Emergency rate cut. But things calmed down, and it didn't get to that point. But still, Trump is thinking, you know what? We should get the rates cut. It's ultimately what he wants. And the odds keep rising for us not getting a rate cut, it seems like. 86% chance now, compared to a 13% chance of getting a rate cut. So it seems like nothing's changed there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Still expecting 4 rate cuts for this year, nonetheless. That's still pretty good. But yeah, that's what we got. So who would replace this guy? Trump is considering Michael Burry to replace Jerome Powell. Or even there's talks about replacing him with Kevin Warsh to succeed him. Trump was having private talks planning to fire Fed Chair Jerome Powell. Who knows if that's going to happen. Of course, Elizabeth Warren is going to come out and speak against this, saying that if Chairman Powell can be fired by the president, it will crash the markets. You know who else warned this? Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent warned that removing Fed Chair Powell could rattle the markets as well. Is this really a good idea? Is it worth it? I don't know. I kind of want to be on the fence for this one. Like, I don't love or hate Jerome Powell. He's just, in my opinion, doing his job, although very cautiously, very maybe a little too slow, which is why Trump is a bit mad at him. He's calling him Too Late Jerome Powell, new nickname for him, because it's taking too long to do the right thing, right? But I feel like he's maybe overly analytical and is trying to do what's best, right? Doesn't want to, because economic data, we've seen it fluctuate like crazy. Sometimes it's looking like, oh, we're absolutely getting so many rate cuts. And then the next time it's like, oh, it's over. We're not getting no rate cuts. We're getting rate hikes, possibly, because inflation is going to be back on the rise or something like that, right? So a lot of uncertainty during this time. So I don't blame him. But you never know what's really behind this guy's brain. This is some interesting news, and it's something that I personally experienced as well. Ethereum transaction fees have hit a 5-year low. Transaction fees, okay? Not its price. Its price is still also at a maybe 5-year low, but that's besides the point. Transfers using Ethereum are now just costing about 16 cents, which is the lowest daily average since May 2nd of 2020. That's pretty good, I think. Is it really good? Let's ask Rock. Because, in my opinion, lower fees, like the reason many people deviated from Ethereum was because of its fees. Because they were so high. It's like, oh, I'm not paying $50 to... No, it wasn't that crazy. It was like, I'm not paying $5 to send $50. Something like that, right? It's happened to me in the past. I had to pay large fees, large gas fees. And I've seen people also do the same thing back in like NFT days. I tried getting a bit into it. And it was just, I just looking at the Ethereum gas fees, and I'm like, I don't want to be a part of this, man. That's just way too much in fees. And then better options came out. Solana came out, which is still significantly less than this. And Sui also, similar to Solana, slightly less. So, yeah. Reflects reduced network congestion, largely due to layer 2 solutions like Arbitrum and Optimism handling more transactions. Okay, that could be the case. Low fees could boost adoption for DeFi and NFTs. That's also something that I just mentioned, but it signals low demand for Ethereum's mainnet, potentially impacting Ethereum's deflationary burn mechanism. That is also a fact. Without that much, activity going on Ethereum's chain, part of it gets burned, right? When you do pay those fees, making transactions, right? And of course, the logic here is, okay, if there's like not enough use of it, then, could be bad. But it could be good as well, because the fact that, lower fees, I don't know. Okay, this is an interesting point. Lower fees means more people are willing to use it, right? More people will use it, more activity, and the end justifies the mean in that case, because like the fees that a lot of people are using would be the same as not a lot of people using it, but with high fees. People would rather pay lower fees. And if you're looking at more adoption, that's a great option. And it's similar to American consumers, I would suppose, right? A lot of companies haven't raised their prices from these tariffs, right? Also, prices have dropped because, it seems like the companies are the ones that have to cover the costs of, swallow the costs of, like, what do I say it? How do I say it? Of the consumer goods, right? And because if the consumers are buying stuff normally, right, they don't want to pay higher prices for things. They'll just start consuming less, and that'll just impact businesses and companies a lot more, right? So they try to keep prices stable, or maybe even drop it to boost sales, which overall is good for their company. That's kind of the logic that I'm seeing behind this. So it could go both ways, honestly. Supporters see it as a sign of scalable infrastructure maturing. Yeah, cool. We'll see. M2 money supply, my favorite topic. So this is practically still in play. Bit of a divergence, as I mentioned. But we're reaching one of these points at the M2 money supply. It's correct 80% of the time. It's not a perfect indicator. It's just supposed to tell you the general direction of the market. As you can see in the past, it's kind of mimicked it pretty closely. M2 money global supply versus the price of Bitcoin with a 108-day offset. We could see a dip, DK over the weekend. It looks like that, right? I'm not crazy. I hope I'm not. Maybe a pump back up over here. Maybe one last dip by May 1st. May 1st, no more dips. Maybe some dips, but you get the point. Start rising from there, and it's looking like by August, by the way, we are still hitting new all-time highs. It's not stopping. So that is just so much positive sentiment that, we should be taking into account. The global liquidity, it's still rising. And people are not predicting like 120,000 Bitcoin by August. That could be good. It's also about time, by the way, because this is what the previous bull run cycles looked like. Okay? 2011, Bitcoin rose the fastest, right? And reached a peak around over here. So no problem. It was the first run, so very skeptical coin at that time. 2011, nobody was really using it. It's fine. 2012, it rose like this. Cool. Is this like, what is this, max drawdowns? I'm assuming it is. Yeah. And then in 2016, bull run, another 4 years later, it took a little longer. You see how the curve, it's kind of slower, right? But nonetheless, it still made its parabolic rise. That's fine. 2020 took a little longer, but it still made its rise. We're in 2024, 2025 cycle, right? It's taking a little bit more longer than expected, but it's also expected to still rise nonetheless. Up to where? I don't know where these numbers are going to point to. And also these numbers they're just relative, right? They're not like, oh, this one rose a lot more than this. Of course, we're talking about like literally a couple $100 of Bitcoin rising at this time in 2012 versus this cycle in 2024 where it's rising literally thousands of dollars every day, right? Rising or dropping. That's the amount of volatility we get. Like if I'm looking at a 1 day average true range, it's looking like $3,000 worth of Bitcoin price fluctuations are happening per day, right? So it's much more volatile today than it was back in 2012. Yes, exactly. 2012. And we had a 19% drawdown in 2020 cycle. Who knows what the drawdown will be for this one? This is saying 7% drawdown. I don't think it's a 7%. I think we literally have a 23% drawdown from our all-time high, which is something that we hit in January. Unless I'm crazy. Let me go to Bitcoin. All-time high, yeah, literally January. And from there on downwards, let me go to coin market cap. It shows you like the drawdown from its all-time high currently. It's 23% down from its 110,000 all-time high. It's still got a lot of movement. Oh, this is year to date, maybe. I think that's what it is. 9%, 7%. That kind of matches. If we're talking about year to date gains, sure, 9%. Because Bitcoin started off like at 90, 80,000 maybe this year. January 1, where are we? We are over here. 94,000, yeah. Okay. Yeah, sure. 7, 9% down from there. That's fine. That makes sense. That's likely what it is. It's looking at year-to-date gains. Or drawdowns, I suppose. This correlation is nowhere close to the correlations we have seen in prior cycles. It becomes even more stark when viewed as a rolling median, so it's not a bear market. Bull market is still on. There you go. That's all you gotta really know. And yeah, that's all really I had for today. I do want to look at Bitcoin dominance. Oh, also fear and greed. What are people feeling right now? They're feeling fear still. Fear at 85,000. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I want to look at Bitcoin dominance. Still hitting high levels, right? 64% Bitcoin dominance. Explains why altcoins are suffering currently. And is this CME gaps? Oh, is this a gap? Is that a gap? Let me go to a daily chart. I probably would be able to see it better. No, the answer is no. Go back to 4-hour chart here. This is one CME gap. That's done. What is this? 7 of April, 9 of April. What happened? What is 9 of April? Why do we have a gap over here? Is this overnight? Surely it's overnight. We usually look at weekend gaps when we're talking about CME. This one was supposed to be filled toward the upside, which has already been filled. So we don't have any CME gaps to fill. So this is irrelevant then. Cool. All right. So yeah, that's what we have for now. All right. Gonna end the stream here. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like and subscribe. And it's happening tomorrow. Markets are closed tomorrow. Bitcoin is 24/7. Still will be using that. Update on my bot. I'm still... No, I figured it out. I realized what I was messing up on. I'm ready to move on to different assets. I'm trying to use it for Forex. Forex markets should still be open tomorrow, especially Euro market, Japan market, and Great Britain market. Maybe not US market, although I think it should still be open. Does Forex even close on holidays? I don't think it does. I haven't studied too much on Forex. Does Forex close on holidays? I know it closes Saturdays, but not... Oh, it does close on major international holidays and weekends. While some trading may still occur, liquidity is reduced. That is a fact, so it's probably not a good idea to trade Forex tomorrow. Nor crypto, right? Easter holiday. Almost all Forex brokers should be open. Several major markets will be closed today on this major holiday. That's March 23. Which day? Easter hasn't happened yet. Friday, April 18. That's tomorrow. Good Friday. New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ will close. It's not a public holiday in the US. Some Forex CFD brokers may shut down approximately from 5 p.m. Tokyo time till Monday. Most will remain open, but trading in many equity market. Okay, I don't trade that. Don't got to worry about that. I'm okay with my stocks. Advice. What? The entire day is a public holiday in Germany, Canada, UK, Switzerland, Australia, New Zealand. So trading the GBP. Okay, I can't trade GBP then. From Great Britain, pound, Canadian dollar, Switzerland coin, franc, Australian dollar, New Zealand coin. Could be especially pointless. Markets will still be open, but it will just move slow with low liquidity. So yeah, I agree. I'm not going to trade on tomorrow. Forex. I will still backtest, though, everything that I have, ensuring that I'm getting the correct results that I need. Cool. That's all. All right, I will end stream for real now. Thanks, guys, for watching. Goodbye. Good night. Oh, and go watch Prime Minister debate for Canada. It's happening now.